The transatlantic slave trade was not the gravest crime against humanity. Well, that's according to the 3 countries that voted no. Let's recap. Last month, 123 countries stood with Ghana at the UN to declare the transatlantic slave trade the gravest crime against humanity. But the US, Israel, and Argentina voted no, while the UK and all 27 EU member states abstained. That includes France, Belgium, Portugal, and other countries who benefited from slavery. But let's talk about history, because history doesn't lie and neither do the numbers. The transatlantic slave trade forcibly displaced over 12 million Africans, with over 2 million dying during the voyage. Slavery was brutality by design. We're talking oppression, systemic torture, people reduced to property, punished, violated, and stripped of all control over their lives. Slavery wasn't just the engine behind cotton and sugar, it also powered entire global industries like coffee, tobacco, rice, and even mining. By 1860, nearly 4 million enslaved people were living in America. And Portugal, the country that started it all in 1444, transported over 5.8 million Africans. Britain, approximately 3.4 million, and France, over 1.1 million. But what about Belgium's King Leopold II? Well, his rule resulted in over 10 million people in the Congo dying. Hands chopped off, villages burnt, entire generations wiped out, and all for robber profits. And these countries couldn't bring themselves to vote yes. But wait, what's the climate connection? Well, it could be argued that the environmental and social justice issues that we face on the African continent, be it waste colonialism, oil extraction, deforestation, mining, and more, are often driven by those very same countries that either abstained or voted no. Today, just 5 Western companies dominate oil extraction across Africa. Total Energies operates in 43 African countries, and a 2024 peer-reviewed study found that the company reproduces, and I quote, colonial relationships of power across Africa. The same systems that built wealth through the exploitation of African bodies never stopped. They just changed shape. First slavery, then colonial extraction, and now the climate crisis. And let's not forget that Africa contributes less than 5% of global carbon emissions, yet faces the front lines of drought, floods, food insecurity, and displacement. That is not a coincidence. That is a pattern. So going back to the UN vote, which by the way also called to address the persistent global inequalities that remain tied to the legacy of enslavement, this is all about colonial nations paying their debt to the continent they exploited for centuries, and arguably continue to. So we want to hear from you. Did slavery ever really end, or did it just change shape? Drop your thoughts in the comments below.